Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, September 8th. Welcome to another episode of Together San Diego. I'm your host, Luis Cruz, Community Relations Director for the San Diego Union-Tribune. Joining me this afternoon is Michelle Carlson, Executive Director of Teen Line, a nonprofit that has been providing peer-based mental health support for young people since 1980. And we're also joined by Abby Raderman, a Teen Line volunteer. Michelle and Abby, thank you both very much for joining me today.
Thank you for the opportunity. We appreciate being here.
Thank you.
This is a very important subject matter, so I'm glad that you're able to come on and talk to us about it. Michelle, for those people that may not be familiar with Teen Line, can you tell us a little bit about your organization?
Yeah, so Teen Line is a California-based nonprofit that provides youth mental health support through our peer-based programs. So our primary service is a youth hotline that provides a safe, non-judgmental space for youth to reach out via text, email, or call and talk to a peer. We know just from research and anecdotal experience that usually when youth have a problem, they'll first reach out to a peer before they would to an adult. And so by staffing our hotline with highly trained teen volunteers and having mental health professionals supervise, it provides a space for youth to be honest and open about their problems and feel like someone really can understand them because the people on the other end of the line are someone around their own age.
Right. This is National Suicide Prevention Week, and you're hosting your 4th annual teen-led Call-A-Thon event this Saturday. I want to talk to you more about that, and I also want to talk to Abby. But before we get to that, let's show our viewers a behind-the-scenes look at Teen Line volunteers in action, and then we'll be back.
The teen years are hard. Many of us feel alone, isolated, and hopeless. With no one to talk to, with no one who really understands, we can sink into depression and despair. Some of us will even consider suicide.
A lot of kids don't feel like they can talk about what they're going through with anybody. They just want someone to be there for them. They just need somebody, anybody, to just acknowledge them.
That must be so frustrating.
Since 1980, a group of teens have been there, listening and saving lives. And at the same time, changing their own.
Hey, this is Josh at Teen Line.
Teen Line is an anonymous and confidential helpline answered by teen volunteers who take phone calls and respond to texts and emails every night from 6 to 10 p.m.
He doesn't go to your school, right?
Have you thought about doing that for a while?
For any teen who calls or texts or emails Teen Line, they're gonna get a teenager just like them. We're just gonna be like, hey, this is Teen Line, what's up?
Do you feel like it's, a healthy way to cope, or you not like what you're doing?
I want to let you know that I do care.
We get calls dealing with relationships, suicide, child abuse, rape, self-injury, eating disorders. It can be anything.
The teen volunteer listeners are supervised by adult mental health professionals who provide them with support and information.
You wanted to help yourself, and so you...
Teens communicate with teens better than they do with adults because, you're going through the same things.
Want to tell me a little bit more about your relationship with your dad?
Every year, more than 10,000 teens from around the world reach out to Teen Line.
Do you want to tell me what happened?
You just listen and provide empathy, and the person will just totally help themselves.
I think it's up to you if you want to get back together with him. I just had a call from this girl, Melissa. It was a relationship call, and she was just feeling really overwhelmed and lots of things going on in her life, and she just needed someone to listen to her.
Do you blame yourself or feel guilty? When I'm on a phone call, you don't notice anyone else around you because you're just completely, absolutely focused on that one person and how they're feeling. Well, then I think you're very brave for talking to me. You're there to help them, and that's like the only thing going through your mind. No, absolutely. I feel like I helped somebody. I feel like I made a difference in someone's life, even if it was very small.
If you want to know more about Teen Line, please call or visit the website.
Wow, I think it's so great what you all do, and I can't wait to learn more about it this afternoon. Michelle, have you experienced more calls during the pandemic?
Yeah, we're hearing a lot. Our contact has been up by about 44%, and it continues to rise as the pandemic continues. And, we're hearing a lot about grieving a lot of those losses, those life losses. So things like graduation, missing graduation, prom, even hearing from kids going back to school now. They might be going to a new school and now they're going online. And also a lot about missing spending time with grandparents and friends, and just not even having that sort of private time to reflect, just because they're with their families 24/7. So we're seeing really big increases in terms of anxiety. It's up by almost 20%. Loneliness is up by almost 30%. Family issues, almost 30%. And actually suicide up by 16%. I think the most shocking and sort of heart-wrenching thing that we've been hearing about is our reports of child abuse are up by 140%. And that's just unfortunate given the circumstances. I mean, unfortunately, these are very stressful times. And sometimes when there's already unhealthy family dynamics and people are stuck with each other 24/7, sort of in that pressure cooker, that can definitely increase those rates of abuse.
Yeah, it's definitely a very tough, difficult time right now. Abby, tell us how you got involved with Teen Line.
Oh, yeah. Well, I heard about Teen Line from my cousin because she was also a Teen Line volunteer. And then, kind of my whole life, I've always really wanted to, help people and been very passionate about, mental health and the mental health community, because of my own struggles. So when I found out about the organization, I kind of, knew it was the perfect thing for me to be doing.
And Abby, hearing about other people's problems is a big responsibility. What kind of training do you get?
Well, in terms of training, we have two different levels. The first level is about a couple month intensive. We have 3 different training programs, one in the fall, one in the spring, and one in the summer. And then after that, you go into the actual hotline room and you're what's called an observer. So you basically answer emails and you observe calls and you have all of these role plays, these mock calls basically, and you have a certain amount and practice basically every single issue you could possibly think of. And after you meet all those qualifications, you get to become a listener.
All right. Yeah, that's another word for volunteers. I know you guys are known as the listeners, which is great. If anyone has questions for Michelle or Abby and you're watching at home, this would be the time to just put them in the comment section and we'll try to call them up and see if we can address them. Michelle, talk a little bit about the 4th annual Teen-led Call-A-Thon event this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, so our annual call-a-thon's during Suicide Prevention Week, which is this week, and it's the last day on Saturday, September 12th. And basically, it's to create awareness and promote suicide prevention. So we expand our hotline hours from 6 to 10 to 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to provide a full day of support. Normally, our calls roll over to our partner, Dee Hirsch, their suicide prevention line. But on Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., our trained teens will be available to talk to any youth that want to contact us via text, email, or call.
And speaking of that, let's pull up some numbers here. We have the Teen Line number, 1-800-852-8336. That's again 800-852-8336. You can also text teen to 839863. That's teen to 839863. And then, of course, you have the website at teenlineonline.org. Michelle, this is also a fundraising event, correct?
It is, yeah. So we've, we do this annually, but especially during COVID, the need to support our hotline is rising. So not only with the increased demand for services, but we had to move everything remote. So we had a new call platform, new hardware, new computers. So we're really looking for help to support our COVID response. And people can actually donate if they'd like to help support our efforts with our hotline at our website, which is www.teenlineonline.org. Looks like it's on the screen there. Yeah.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned this is a National Suicide Prevention Week. What are some signs or symptoms of serious depression? What should we be looking out for?
Well, I think just to acknowledge that I think this is a difficult time for everyone. So people are having a multitude of emotions, and I think that needs to be considered. But I think, it starts to be concerning when you start to see someone really withdraw emotionally and socially. So maybe like not responding to loved ones' texts or calls, not finding interest in really doing anything that they used to do that they really loved. And I think it's especially important to note any big changes in terms of like sleeping and eating habits. That starts to just set off sort of a red flag that maybe there is something going on.
And so what's the best thing that a parent or other adult or friend might do if they suspect that a teenager is considering suicide?
Well, I think if you notice any of these signs, I think it's obviously a sign that they're struggling emotionally. And I think it's really important for people to remember when kids are thinking, or anyone for that matter, is thinking about suicide, that person doesn't really want to die. They just don't know how to handle or manage their pain in that moment. And so I think it's important to keep that in mind. But I think one of the things you can do is just find a private place where you have some time to talk and just tell that person, I've really noticed that you're really withdrawn, you're sleeping all the time, I've noticed you're crying a lot. I'm really concerned about you. And sometimes, when people are thinking about suicide, they feel this way. Is that something that you're thinking about? And although that sounds really direct, they can answer no if they're not feeling that way. But if they are, you're actually giving them an opportunity to really talk about something that's really stigmatized. And maybe they've been keeping secret and feel like they can't talk to anybody about. So you're really lifting a burden for them to be able to open that up for a conversation. And I think following up that conversation, it's always important to get professional help and try not to manage it on your own. Many therapists are doing online consults right now and sessions, so that's available as well.
And Abby, you mentioned that you got involved with Teen Line after experiencing some things yourself. Do you feel comfortable enough to talk about that?
Yeah, totally. I've kind of been struggling with anxiety for the majority of my life. And when I was in my freshman year of high school, I experienced my first depressive episode. And within that, I kind of understood firsthand what some of those symptoms and stuff felt like. So after I reached out and I got help, and I improved a lot, or whatever you want to call it, I wanted to give that back to people, and I wanted to be that support for others as well. And I feel like it's kind of what I was meant to do in a way. Yeah.
That's great. What would you say you've learned since becoming a Teen Line volunteer?
Oh, that is a long answer. I've learned just so much. Past just all the active listening skills and all the information about mental illness and society and all the conversations I've gotten to have with my peers, I've really learned how to advocate for myself, honestly, and how to differentiate my own struggles with others, and how to really take care of myself, because it's not easy. You listen to a lot of people struggling, and sometimes it can be very hard to not take that on yourself. So within that, some of our training is actually how to reach out for ourselves and how to ask one of our supervisors if we need to take a break or we need to talk to them or something like that. Plus just getting to be part of such a big community of people who have such different ideas and walks of life, but all have one common goal. You just learn so much about the world.
Yeah. We've talked a bit about the Call-A-Thon event. What do you want teens to know, Abby, about the event? How would you encourage them to call on Saturday or really any other night of the week?
Yeah. Obviously our purpose and our goal and what we want from Teen Line is for people to feel like they have a place to reach out and for teens to feel comfortable talking to someone, because asking for help and sharing what you're going through is really, really hard, and it can be very scary, especially if you've never done it before. So like my hope with the Call-A-Thon is just to encourage people who are having like suicidal ideation and maybe have been struggling with it for a while, or not just like suicide. Like if you're just struggling with anything, like please call. You have someone who cares about you. Like we all care about everyone so much, and we just want to be that ear and allow people that space, because so many people don't get that.
Yeah, no, that's great. We were talking about this before we got on the air. Even myself as an adult, I've suffered with depression as well, and it's not always easy to reach out for help. So, Michelle, any other advice that you would have for anyone who may be watching that is really struggling to just pick up that phone or reach out for help?
Yeah, I think just to remember that you're not alone. I mean, there's so many of us who've had all these, unifying experiences, similar experiences in life, and that you're not alone and that you can reach out. It doesn't need to be a crisis. That's the great thing about Teen Line, our hotline. You can call, we get contacts from people from, I got in a fight with my parents, to someone who's actively suicidal. So it's just a place you can reach out and get support that you need, and learn how you can help manage that, and then get some resources from our teens that believe in these resources and have vetted them for you.
Great. Abby, is there anything else you want people to know about the services offered by Teen Line volunteers like yourself?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just want to let like anybody know that, like, adding on to what Michelle said, like there doesn't need to be this huge crisis going on in your life for you to call in and get support. It can be anything. I've taken calls from people who are just like stressed about homework, to calls from people who are dealing with like really, really severe crises. And equally, like they're both important. No one is alone, no matter what you're dealing with or what you're struggling with. And in terms of like Teen Line, if you want somebody who like can understand, like call us. It's scary. You could also text or email. I get that, but we just want to like help, and you deserve that support as well.
Yeah, Michelle, talk a little bit about Teen Line, its history. Abby mentioned people can also text, so there's an app. Tell us a little bit more about the program and the services you offer.
Yeah, so even beyond the hotline, we have other resources for youth and for parents, for that matter, on our website. We have community message boards, which are over 30,000 youth that are on message boards. They're communities centered around certain issues that people might be experiencing, like anxiety or stress or depression. And they're really a sense of support, and they're also monitored, but really a community of support for youth. We have our Youth Yellow Pages, which is a resource app that we've created that's free and downloadable from our website. So you can get resources that are specifically geared for youth, from anything from anxiety to drug abuse, resources in there. And we also have several educational brochures and a parent website for parents if they need support, particularly during COVID-19. I know it's tough for parents right now to be able to know what the right thing to do is.
Yeah. So here's a shot of the Teen Line app. Where can people find it?
You can find all of our resources on our website at teenlineonline.org.
Great. Let's see. And your volunteers, they also go out and speak to schools, correct?
They do. So we offer an outreach program. So it's basically we go into schools and youth organizations, and we get that conversation started about those stigmatized issues. So things like depression, things like anxiety, suicide, really to dispel some of that stigma and help increase the understanding around the issues. And then also be able to help youth with figuring out what are they doing in their lives that can help them cope with some of these things like stress and anxiety. And then who in their lives can they reach out to talk about some of these problems on an ongoing basis.
And I'm not sure if we've mentioned this yet, but you're based out of Los Angeles, but yet you provide your services for teens across the country and really around the world.
Yeah, actually worldwide. Because of our email component on our hotline, we hear from people from all over the world. So, yeah.
Great. Okay, so again, the event is on Saturday. Michelle, what have we not touched on that our audience should know about Teen Line and or the Call-A-Thon event this Saturday?
I would just say, we have a multitude of resources and support for both youth and parents on our website. If you go to www.teenlineonline.org, you can find them there. And to reach out to youth, to reach out to the hotline when you're in distress. I mean, it really helps sometimes just to talk, and you can call or text in anonymously, just to talk and unload with someone who just really understands and gets it, and you're going to get that validation and support that you need.
Great. Is there anything else either of you would like to add?
Yeah, I would just really like to encourage anyone to call in. Like, please ask for help. That's what we're here for, and that's what we really want to do. Like, you're not alone. You have support out there, and it's really, really scary, but it's okay because we understand, and like, you have a place, and we want to give you that space because there are so many people out there that don't have that. So please call or text or email in if you're struggling with anything.
Michelle, anything else you'd like to add?
No, we're all in this together. So I think we just need to know that, yeah, it's important to be understanding of one another and I think it's a test of people's patience right now, I think we're all stuck in our homes and it can be difficult and there's a lot of stressors going on. I think to have that patience and give each and every one of us the space to be able to reflect and have some private time is really important, I think.
Yeah. Here's a comment that we had on Facebook from Miguel Navarro. Beautiful work. I love to hear this help is out there. Keep up the amazing work.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle Carlson, Executive Director of Teen Line, and Abby Raderman, Teen Line volunteer, for everything you do to help our young people. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. And Abby, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Of course.
I really appreciate it. And again, thank you for everything you're doing to help your peers. I think that is totally awesome.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
And thank you again, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Louise. We really appreciate it.
And thank you at home for watching. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Unprecedented times like these can be hard for teens like us.
It is stressful.
Scary.
Sad.
Overwhelming right now, but we
at Teen Line
are here for you.
We at Teen Line are here for you.
Teens like us are answering texts and emails from 6 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 days a week.
So if there's anything you'd want to talk about, feel free to reach out.
What is Generation Z?
Generation Z is very diverse and different from other generations.
In a brand new podcast from the San Diego Union-Tribune, we'll get to know this new generation that's literally changing the face of America. And you'll hear directly from them about what they are and aren't.
So say hello to Gen